and welcome to B2B Breakfast to Business with your morning girl, Bea Lim, Managing Director of TeamAsia. And we are back with another refreshing breakfast conversation. And today, we're talking digital. But before we go into that one, guys, I just wanted to quickly check in if you did get to listen to our previous episode, which was really more focused on mindfulness, mindful living, and taking care of oneself. And that was with Magis Creative Spaces. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so because it was such a beautiful conversation around, themes of taking care of oneself, of being able to look into different exercises and means and ways to be kind to yourself, to live mindfully, and to make it more special and meaningful to you. So our topic for today actually really is about digital in the new business as usual. We're here to talk about how businesses have used the digital toolbox consisting of digital marketing, creative design, and web technologies to survive and thrive during this pandemic. So guys, it's really not just about surviving, or it's not just about the survival of the fittest, but it's also giving us that chance, that opportunity and platform to be able to thrive during this global crisis and even bring our brands to the next level experience and forward in the new normal. So for today's B2B podcast episode, I do have a very special guest with me. Now, he is really actually one of the people that I enjoy real live coffee with in the morning. Like, he can tell you a lot about it because we usually are in the TeamAsia headquarters very early, and we do bump into each other and say, hey, you want to grab some coffee? And we always have great conversations about not only the world, but also, of course, marketing and digital as a whole. And he is none other than our Senior Manager for Digital Strategy in TeamAsia, and that is Mr. James Chiong. He is a Google Analytics and HubSpot inbound marketing certified professional. He has also led TeamAsia's digital team through its successful digital marketing campaigns. And my favorite tidbit also about James is that he is actually a marketing professor, and he did a stint at the Lyceum of the Philippines in Cavite. And I felt that, it was really good to get a digital marketer's perspective, but also drawing conclusions and observations from an academic background. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you guys our Senior Manager for Digital Strategy, Mr. James Chiong. Hey, James!
Hello, Bea. Good morning, and good morning to all our listeners for this podcast episode.
No, thank you for being here, James. I love it. I did mention earlier that we usually have these conversations over a cup of coffee. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick little fact here. James and I like talking about things with metaphors and visualizations. So, you guys are probably going to have a lot of those things going through your mind. So, you know what, James? We're going to go ahead and start, right? And I'm going to give everybody like a quick snapshot of our discussion today. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about how we are fully utilizing our digital toolbox in terms of pivoting our marketing strategies amidst the pandemic. Like, I know, guys, it's really been hard. We have really been faced with a lot of challenges and a lot of changes over the past couple of months. But we also know that there are so many opportunities out there to not only continue and thrive in this global crisis, but to also to upskill, to bring your brand to the next level experience, to pivot and really reimagine what the future is like with your brand. And of course, our ever essential digital toolbox. So we just wanted to give you guys a quick snapshot of what TeamAsia does. So we are able to actually bring forth digital strategies because of two magical words, and that is digital triad. How do we actually bring these digital strategies to the forefront is that we do have a team composed of three aspects that make up this beautiful ecosystem that brings forward our brands and allows us to achieve our common goals. At TeamAsia, we're very proud to be a one-stop shop of amazing people who each have their specific roles and expertise to bring those plans forward. So if we were able to break it down a little bit, this digital triad, we start first with web. And we started this department actually when, websites first came to the Philippines. And so we said, hey, you know what? We're going to start developing this new so-called website. And we did it. So we had a team of guys, developers who just came together and created great awareness pieces online. And so our web team brings businesses on e-commerce, creative platforms for people's ease of use, and other ways to make your visibility credible, strong, and attractive online. And then we have our digital team. Now, our digital team creates and serves data and connects brand consumers online through data-driven efforts. And James can talk about data on and on and on and on because he is leading that team. But when digital and web come together, it really is about fusing this beautiful data-driven initiative to make sure that we are setting our foot on the online space. And of course, we have our creative team to create marvelous designs that are not only compelling, that are not only relevant and impactful, but also that is able to resonate with various audiences. They're able to provide creative solutions, form, but especially function of design data, and that's more functional and empathetic for audiences so that when we create something, it does not only look great, but it feels great and it works great. So that is primarily what we do with the Digital Triad. So we wanted to talk about the Digital Triad because we were very lucky. We were very lucky to have had this ecosystem already set in stone within our company's or agency's footprint. But we also understand that it may not have been as easy for other companies or individuals to have to pivot online because of this global crisis. So we want to talk about first the landscape, understand digital a little bit more, and hopefully share with you, ladies and gentlemen, some tips and tricks on bringing your digital strategies to the next level experience so that we can all grab the opportunities of this new normal as we navigate through uncharted territories. So now more than ever, guys, businesses are trying to make themselves available online. We've seen it the past couple of months. We see it every day. We are even consuming the content of those strategies or efforts as we speak or as you guys are listening to this podcast. But it would be good for us to really understand that journey, understand that path, or understand that whole ecosystem of digital. So I'm just gonna go and turn to my trusty friend James here. James, I want to know, why has this become a path for brands to take, especially in this global crisis? Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for that. A very relevant question, Bea, and I really love it because it's what we've been seeing from, all of the brands that we basically see in social media or news or basically everywhere. And one thing that resonated from what you said earlier was opportunities, and this is really a key word here. Brands are really hitching on the many opportunities that they can grab. Digital has been, the path for many brands because digital isn't really that much affected. As we said in the title, it's really business as usual, right? And that's really true for most companies, for most digital companies or brands that have already adapted the digital, ways and means of marketing and operations and collaborating. I'd also like to mention that. It's been really a set of trying times. These are very turbulent, and everybody has to pivot. Even brands, especially brands and companies who wanted to, basically survive and thrive and succeed, right, during these times. But I just have to say, everybody has to pivot, but we all have different stages and different adventures, different journeys of pivoting towards digital. There are brands who have just really started to adopt digital. These are probably brands that have, maybe owned a physical store, and for the longest time they've been surviving and thriving and maybe really successful at that, right? So come COVID-19, come this pandemic, and everyone's immobile. Everyone's having mobility issues, so they're grabbing onto more digital technologies in terms of marketing and operating their business. So that's very much fine. It's one of the journeys that a lot of brands are taking, and there are brands that are really next level now. There are brands that have already gone into virtual reality, augmented reality, more interactive websites, digital only delivery services or service delivery for for various services, whether these are physical products or services even. So again, there are many different journeys, but again, it's really important that we know our purpose, right? So we have to look inward and find out how should we be adopting more digital technologies. I also like to mention that for brands going on digital, it's not really the end goal. And what that means is that once you've arrived to a point where you're comfortable using digital technologies in marketing or collaboration or operations, you don't rest on your laurels. Instead, you should continuously shape, mold, and create the experiences you want for your audiences.
I absolutely love that, James, because it's such an exciting place to be in. And I feel that, our brands are going to keep on being hip and happening, right? But you did mention earlier that, we are maximizing the digital toolbox, right? And you yourself you're part of the digital triad, you're part of the digital team of TeamAsia, and you've really gotten deep into how this has worked for us, not only during this time, but also in the past. So my next question is, how have we actually adopted digital through our ways of working? Like, I want to know your thoughts on it so that hopefully we're able to inspire other folks who are thinking about this to jump into that pool of opportunities. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've been really just fortunate in Team Asia that we already have been able to adopt, digital through our ways of working, in our marketing strategies, and it's really, an integral part of who we are as Team Asia. I'd like to also mention that we're really just also fortunate that being able to, pivot much faster and having our teams and our people, are very amazing people, established and ready to rock on the digital technologies towards marketing. We're able to also help other brands and our clients to move more and more and faster towards digital marketing, right? So one of the more prevalent ways in how we've been able to help brands is through e-commerce. So we're fortunate because we've been able to help our clients pivot much faster towards e-commerce because we already have the know-how in doing these. And not just only the platforms, but also, that entire end-to-end process of selling products online. We've been able to help our clients. Yeah, and a lot of the other ways that brands are moving more and more towards digital is through, more online collaborations, the prevalence of online conferences and online classrooms. Even for schools, they're trying to provide hybrid online and offline learning management solutions. And more importantly, a lot of the events that we are used to seeing offline are now online. I mean, I for our listeners, maybe you've been noticing a lot of Facebook Live notifications on your feeds in Facebook, and this is because a lot of the brands that we are used to seeing offline are now, turning their experiences online. And we've been able to help our clients, transition from that level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, James, actually, for sharing that. Because, when you were saying also that, hey, you might be noticing that these are the things that are happening. Like, most of the things that we were enjoying live, face to face or physically, are now online, right? I mean, there's e-commerce for the shopping, the deliveries, even school learning and sharing have also transitioned into that virtual space. It's funny though, if before we had this jargon, right? This saying like, how do you go from on ground to online, right? From offline to online. And it was always like this next step. But now it's the other way around. It's like, this is full on digital, this is full on offline, but how can we now amplify it with probably on ground or offline efforts? So it's a beautiful thing actually to see a shift despite the challenges and the changes that we've experienced, because we also see how resilient, resourceful, and creative people can be. Going to digital takes a lot of effort and guts, right? And just to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna experiment, and we might fall a couple of times, because it's also easy enough for us to pivot, re-strategize, but it's a great means for brands alike to see what would work for them. I think that what I love about digital is that it's vast enough to provide various tools and channels that could possibly fit a strategy that we're thinking, but you also have to look into what would work for you, not necessarily like a playbook that says step by step, this is what you need to do to be able to make it in the online sphere. So yes, James, I couldn't agree with you more. Digital has become a very important part in our day-to-day lives, that it synergizes with different business approaches and functions within an organization, a community, an ecosystem, a nation, right? But still, digital exists as its own product. We all know that, not just as a tool. So it's also a product and or service. Why do you think so, James? How come?
Yeah, I love this question because it's very relevant. And this is, pertaining to how a lot of brands are seeing, digital technologies in terms of marketing. Yeah, for one. Digital is not just Facebook, right, or social media or webinars. It's also relevant to what we said earlier about digital is not the end, the end, or basically the destination. It really is a journey, right? So digital is a way of basically engaging people online. So we like to think of it as like of where we're doing is just not trying to do offline activities and then doing them online. It's not just that. Digital exists to cater to a specific audience, the ones that are really more engaged online, the ones that are thriving, in online conversations, in social media communities, and it adheres to or it meets a specific human behavioral need to connect and communicate. Especially now, we've been mentioning that mobility is still limited, but more and more social media communities are becoming important. I'd also like to basically mention that and allow ourselves to rethink about digital not just being a way to do online what we normally do offline, but it's also about expanding the way people engage with brands, deepening certain relationships. It's a completely different dimension of experience, right? So you mentioned that I'm a professor, so I'd like to mention this one. It's about omni-channel marketing, and it's really all about thinking about your consumer, thinking about your audiences, and what marketing mix or what channel mix do you apply to or really leverage to meet the needs of your consumers, right? So digital, it's not the end of the journey. It's part of what we should be doing, but as we mentioned earlier, it's a completely different dimension of experience with totally different rules. And if you're exploring digital just now, if you're starting your journey just now, it may be daunting, but you have people like us who would guide you or be with you throughout this journey. Talking about that, I'd also like to mention that a lot of businesses, events, provide somewhat autonomous solutions already. So this is an aspect of basically leveraging digital technologies towards providing better service is through autonomous solutions. One of these could be if you send a chat to a brand page in Facebook and then you receive a series of instant replies or automated replies. This could be a autonomous solution that you can provide to your audiences, just because if you already know what potentially your consumers might need, then you can really predict what kind of responses you would need to send out to them. It's important because even though some of your consumers might know that a bot is chatting with them, you can still be able to provide a very human, very meaningful experience to them if you yourself as a brand marketer or as a business owner know what they care about. So right, it's still providing that human experience while you're in digital. But again, as we said earlier, we have our own digital journeys, and we don't really rest because you're online already, because you have a Facebook page. It's not like you're buying the whole supermarket, right? So when you go to a supermarket and then you see all of these shelves, all of these categories of products, you don't buy all of the products, or you don't buy everything, is what I'm saying, just because you can, just because everything's available. In digital, or in digital marketing, to be more specific, in choosing the technologies that you want to implement for your business, it's like buying ingredients to make something meaningful for you. Basically, you adopt the digital marketing technologies that you need in order for you to provide, a more meaningful experience for your consumers. So there, I mean, I can break this down further into, basically three values. You have to be strategic in, knowing what you need. And number two, of course, digital marketing is very, very quickly changing, even by the day. But basically, we have to also be able to step back a little, look at the bigger picture, and map out our destination. We have to know basically how to navigate and determine the ways that we want to pursue this journey.
No, I love it, James. Absolutely. I mean, just with what you said, if I may to go back a little bit, I love that you said, you know what, this is tech, this is digital, it's a tool. A lot of people see it as tool, but at the heart actually of digital marketing is the human person. It's the person, it's the human behavior that actually does tell you or help you in creating those strategies, because we have to think of that. We have to think about us as consumers. We have to think about us as people who consume the different content we put out there, and what would our journey be, because we need to track that and make our strategies, or our, like your dish, like the dish that you're going to serve or the dish that you're going to make, something that is appetizing, something that is meaningful, and something that will really keep the audience hooked, right? So, we talked earlier about us having visualizations when we talk about different themes, guys. And today I just want us to visualize this big ocean, this vast ocean, and we're all navigating through new waters, uncharted territories with this new pandemic, and we all have a platform. And let's say that that platform is digital, and we're all in a boat, and we're all going on a journey, right? In digital, you need to choose your own adventure, right? And you need to own that adventure as yours. You need to bring in the people and the tools and the channels that would work for you, that you need for that journey. And you need to sally forth knowing where you want to be able to go, right? Like, yes, it is uncharted territories, but there has to be an aim. There has to be a goal, and you have to stay on that path. But at the same time, you need to be, aware of what's going on around you, right? There will be competition. There will be other boats out there, and you're just going to need to know how you're going to stay on that path and keep your head held up high, right? And you also need to be able to see the big picture, where you want to go, how you want to get there, and how you're going to use the tools that you've packed into your little boat, right? To make sure that the journey is going to be amazing, that it's going to be worthwhile, and that it's something that's going to keep your business afloat, right? So again, I'd like everybody to take that visualization home with you guys as we go through this week, because we are all navigating through new waters. It's a new adventure for everybody, but what's good is that we do have a tool that can get us there, and that's digital. But you have to be strategic, guys. You don't just say, I'm going to go to digital and that's it. We need to be able to look into means and ways to develop strategies that would work for your audience. Again, do not forget your audience, guys, because at the end of the day, you are reaching to them. You want them to know about you to be able to achieve your goals, right? And it doesn't happen immediately, as any journey towards attaining a position when you're comfortable navigating through digital, guys. It takes time. Don't cry, don't fret. We can all do this, right? And digital, more than ever, has become an essential service and or product, right, guys? We continue to see the need for this powerful platform not just be a part of one's business model, but to be its own business model, guys. That's how beautiful digital is. Okay, so with this conversation, I just want to take it a little bit further and actually see how brands have reimagined their services with digital, right? one of the things that I want to kick off this part of the program on would be education, right? Education,
Yes.
like blended learning through online platforms has been actually available. We've seen so many emails, so many ads on master classes, on
Yeah.
certifications, on things that you can do online as a means to upskill yourself or to learn more things, right? And the likes of Coursera are some of the best ways people have explored online training. We have even helped one of our other clients to push their messaging towards online training as well, right? And we're very excited about that because we say, hey, you know what? This pandemic doesn't actually put a stomper on, learning. Learning never stops, and we need to push that forward. Actually, UNESCO even recommends distance learning platforms, or what they call massive open online courses for educators to facilitate learning during this time. It's like, hey, you know what, guys? We don't have to stop learning. We can do this, right? But at the same time, guys, this is not new. It's been there
Yeah.
for a while. I mean, we've been talking about this for so long, but it's now suddenly everybody's, hey, I have time in my hands. I can turn traffic time into education time. What do you think about that, James?
Yeah, I mean this is something that we recognized earlier on. I mean, you may have seen the news recently about that girl who recently, passed 20 Coursera diplomas. I also recently, passed two Coursera diplomas, one from University of London and one from it's for marketing analytics. I mean, we try to be very productive, more productive during this time. Of course, as you mentioned, Bea, earlier, we're also turning our traffic time, the travel time we take from home to work, and making more productive use of it. Um, another point that I like to make, and to continue on your point, is basically some certain publications that have already been starting as digital, like Humans of New York, and some of the more local examples like Spot PH and When in Manila, who originally started as a digital platform and have been online and talking about people even before the pandemic. I myself follow an Instagram account called Brute America for because it's not just the news that they're trying to share, but it's also the format, right? So I like their format. And what's good about digital technologies, what's good about digital marketing is that consumers are allowed to choose from content providers because there's so much content out there, right? And we're allowed to choose because we each have our own preferences in terms of how we want to receive the news. I myself, read through headlines through Reddit, reading through the headlines that matter to Filipinos, or what kind of headlines they are reacting to now, right? So I mean, we all have our platforms on where we choose to, get our content. I also like to emphasize the importance of communities, online communities, especially Facebook groups. They empower, local communities through online technologies. Like for example, there's this online community for our subdivision, right, for food delivery services. And what's good about them is that, of course, people are not allowed to, go out and, what the community did, and this very physical community did was they, gathered, food services, food delivery services, or the carinderias, the cooks inside the subdivision, and they established a Facebook group so that all the other residents can, still enjoy good food even while quarantined. So it's very physical, yet we're using these digital technologies to empower people to basically still be able to operate, right, and enjoy the some of the liberties that we are able to enjoy prior to the quarantine.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because I mean, I think that communities have already been there. Like what you said, these things have been there, like Facebook groups, communities, and the like. It's just that having to be pushed towards a corner or back towards a corner, right? Wherein we can't go out, we can't really interact. Suddenly, we turn to these platforms a little bit more, right? So it's always been there, but we've utilized it a lot more by not only engaging and interacting with people because we are dying to to say, hey, I want to interact with you guys, but it's also because we need pertinent information. We need access to certain things, and we have turned to these platforms to be able to get what we need. Like you mentioned earlier, some online communities that have actually also allowed to give us official announcements and the like. What really helped me were Viber communities as well as Telegram communities that would be able to push notifications to you and give you information that you need, right? And you don't have to like go through your social media pages and try to like weed through the noise and get what you need, right? You get to have that information firsthand from those communities. All right, this is really cool, James. But another thing that I want to talk about, which has been there, which has been in the digital space, but have suddenly been such an essential, such an important part of everyday life because of the situation, which is telehealth. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, telehealth has been an emerging niche of startups already. Even before the pandemic, right? So, the telehealth niche of startups aim to provide medical consultation services through online and mobile services. Like we've been saying earlier, they've always been there, right? In fact, one of our clients have been developing their solutions, their telehealth solutions, for a couple of months back, with the greater intention of providing a better way for Filipinos to consult with their doctors, right? So right now, it's not just a better way for Filipinos to consult, but also a safer, more convenient way. Because the world is changing.
Yeah, no,
Right?
absolutely, absolutely. Because again, we go back to the thesis that, these brands, these products, or these industries have been in the digital space, right? They have been in digital space because they saw an opportunity to be where the consumers are, right? Which is online. And it's just that right now, the if digital wasn't loud enough before, it's louder now than ever before, right? Because everybody's flocking towards it and everybody's moving into the digital space as we transition to the future reimagined. Because it's a lot safer, it's more accessible, and it's able to give us what it is that we need at this time, especially at the time of, transition sensitivities and, the need for safety. So we can say that, these different industries that James and I have been talking about, or companies, right, have all been in the digital space. It seems like it's business as usual for them, but actually for me, James, it seems like they're busier. They're busier now more than ever, right? Because suddenly there's a lot more demand for what their services are, right? So I think, guys, if we were to just bring it down and put everything in a nutshell, James and I said a lot of different things, right? We started off by sharing that digital is a beautiful ecosystem, right? And that it allows everybody to be able to move your brand, whether it's your personal brand, your company, or whatever business venture you have out there. You are able to move it forward because there is a tool that is not only accessible and available, but it's also a tool that will empower you to be able to drive growth and adapt in a new setting or the future reimagined. And here in Team Asia, James already said it earlier, we're more than happy, right, to be able to use the ecosystem that we already have, like, with our web guys, with our digital strategists, with our creative geniuses, right? We can all come together and be able to create this platform that will not only allow your brand to stand out or be part of the new normal, but it will also allow you to thrive, to be to go forth and make great things happen in the future reimagined. So there you have it, guys. I mean, James, I would like to really thank you for all of the very great insights that you've shared, especially for the visualizations. How do you feel?
I mean, another one would be like we mentioned the supermarket, we mentioned the ship venturing into the ocean, right? But all in all, we represent a journey, right? So it's and we have to really go back to our own, and basically how do we improve ourselves and the services that we provide for our clients. And it's really digital, Bea. I mean, all in all, that's what we've been talking about earlier. The journey is digital marketing, digital solutions. The pandemic has really predicated the situation. I mean, we all have now to pivot towards digital. But then again, with that urgency, you have to sort of, juxtapose with how do we want to pursue this journey of digital and not be reckless about it, right? And still be able to look into the bigger picture and not buy all of the solutions. I mean, that's not, that's not going to be the right solution for any brand. And, basically, digital is not a solution where you can do the things you're supposed to do offline and then just replicate it online. It's a completely different universe with completely different rules, as we've been talking about earlier. But then again, just as any other marketing channel, it follows it follows the rule that you have to meet your consumers, determine what they need and understand what their feelings are and how they want to consume content, and be able to leverage those knowledge and those insights to implementing better digital solutions and digital marketing strategies for your clients and for your brands.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James, for putting all of those great summaries and visualizations together. I guess, guys, for me, if we were to drill it down, it's really just about knowing who your customers are, knowing who you're looking to attract or to draw in, right? Know your consumer, but more importantly, know who you are. Go back to the purpose of your brand. Go back to what is in the core and look for tools, channels, and strategies that would, fit perfectly in what your core is and your mission to serve your customers wherever they are. And ladies and gentlemen, like what James mentioned earlier, it's digital, and digital is here to stay. So guys, for my food for thought this week, it's all about the journey, right? Things may be bleak, things may be uncertain, maybe we're still a little scared, maybe we're still reimagining this future, and it's okay. But if we were to go back to the visual of that journey, even though things are a little bit more uncertain, guys, always don't forget your North Star. Create that North Star, know that North Star, and follow that path until you get there. Your North Star is not going to leave you astray. That's it for us for Breakfast to Business with our topic today of digital in business as usual 2.0 or reimagine. Thank you so much to James, our guest for today, who's really talking about digital strategies. I'd like to thank all of the people who joined us for this morning's cup of coffee. I hope it was very insightful, and I hope it inspires you to really take your goals and your brand to the next level experience in the digital world. Stay tuned, guys, for our next episode. Speaking of pivoting, it's really about how we can actually maybe get those live experiences in the online space, and we're super excited to be talking about that next topic for B2B next Monday. So if you guys want to know more information about us, follow and like TeamAsia's social media accounts for updates. We're on Facebook, www.facebook.com/TeamAsiaPH. We're also at Instagram, so if you're listening and you want to share, tag us at TeamAsiaPH. We're also on LinkedIn. Please do connect with us at www.linkedin.com/company/TeamAsia. And of course, don't forget our super awesome website, www.teamasia.com. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Please keep engaged. Have a great time. And remember, find your North Star. Bye, guys. Thank you.